My name is Tim O'Brien. I'm with David Gooding Incorporated. We're here in Rainham, Massachusetts this morning to profile a job that was recently completed here. We're in the boiler room of an 8-unit apartment house that was built around 20 some odd years ago. And there's 10 buildings here on site. We're changing them all over the next few months. This was the second building that we did. It was completed about 8 months ago, and the folks are very, very, very happy. The savings have been rather dramatic here. As you might imagine, when you go from a 400,000 BTU unit that's either on or off to 300,000 BTUs of modulating units, there is some considerable cost savings there. The original boiler that was in here was a 400,000 BTU floor-mounted cast iron boiler, very typical for the time period, non-modulating, non-condensing, in the efficiency range of the mid-70s to low 80s. Keep in mind that unit was non-modulating and non-condensing, which essentially means that it was on or off. It was full speed ahead or it was at idle. There was no in between. The Naviens are high efficiency units. They're 95% efficient. They also have a turn down ratio of 15:1, which means that these boilers are only going to fire up to the level that's needed for the call at the time. The modulating is very important because it gives the unit 15 points that it can operate at. The lowest being in the 17 to 19,000 BTU range, all the way up to 150,000 BTUs. It's never going to run at a rate greater than is needed at the time. So that old 400,000 BTU dinosaur that was here, no matter what the call was, if that call was for 20,000 BTUs, that unit still fired up to 400,000 BTUs immediately. It was prone to short cycling, just used a lot more gas than it needed to, and frankly wasted a lot of fuel. The Navien only burns as much gas as is required at that particular time. They're cascaded, so they can run in tandem or they can run separately depending on what the load is. In the summer, you'll probably not see more than one unit come on at a time. We have two 150,000 BTU boilers, which are cascaded and common vented, which is something that you can do with Naviens, which is definitely an advantage over some of the competition. Cascading means that these units are actually talking to one another. There's a cascade cable that links the master unit, which is here, to the slave unit here. And essentially, cascading is balanced runtime. One unit will come on for a load. It'll run up to about 80% of its capacity, and then it will kick the other unit on. That'll balance the runtime. The next time that cycle is initiated, it'll flip-flop. The slave will come on first instead of the master. So at the end of 5 or 10 or 20 years, you have the same amount of, approximately the same amount of runtime on each unit. When the units are cascaded, it allows the contractor the option of common venting. I mean, what common venting means is that we can tie the exhausts together and we can tie the intakes together, and that minimizes the amount of venting that we need, and it also, and very importantly, minimizes the amount of building perforations. So for instance, in this particular case we have 2 units, but we only have 2 perforations. We have the exhaust running up through the roof, and we have the intake drawing through a plenum on the side of the building. And that does a couple of things for us. It minimizes roof penetration to 1, and it allows us to draw through the sidewall, which virtually eliminates any possibility of the exhaust contaminating the intake. Another benefit of the cascaded system is that you have some built-in redundancy. We've got 2 units here that are both 150,000 BTUs. If for any reason there should be a failure in one unit, be it the master or the slave, the other unit will still be able to operate, hopefully keep the building warm until the contractor can come back and service the unit. That's a situation that you wouldn't have with one floor-mounted or even one single unit. If you had a failure, you could be in a situation where you could freeze a building